American public. It's one of the things the League of Women Voters does, right? Civic education. I think this is all good for democracy. And people now know a lot about the Constitution. And one of those things is this thing called the Emoluments Clause, which, so here's a confession. I went through law school, I was a lawyer. I never heard of the Emoluments Clause.
Then you're not very educated.
This issue was brought up. So I'm gonna explain to you what it is. There's a domestic one and there's a foreign one. Basically, it's the same concept. The concept is we shouldn't have American elected officials being influenced by foreign power.
Like Hillary.
Or by getting benefits that serve the elected office holder personally. So for example, Donald Trump has refused to divest himself of the Trump organization,
That's
of the business empire. Instead, he's given it to his family. He's part of the family.
That is
right?
divestment.
And so every time he goes to Mar-a-Lago and brings down all that staff with him. So I had this incredible opportunity to ride an Air Force One with President Obama in my first term in Congress, and I got to see there's a lot of people that travel with the president. There was his staff, there was press staff, there was military staff, there's Secret Service, all these folks. So when all these folks go down with the president in Mar-a-Lago, and they're staying there, and they're eating there, it's all taxpayer money. And that taxpayer money is going to Mar-a-Lago, and it's benefiting the Trump organization. So he makes money.
No, he doesn't.
Or his sons make money every single time he goes to one of his properties. So I introduce a bill that's really quite simple. It basically says, look, we don't actually care, you, Mr. President, where you travel, but if you're going to travel to a property that you own, then you're going to have to pay back the Treasury for the amount of money that's spent at that property.
How about you, Ted? And how much money do we spend on you? You see him like kissing up.
And then the four emoluments clauses are a similar concept. When a foreign country basically says, we're going to grant a whole bunch of licenses for Trump brand products because we want to curry favor with Ivanka Trump or Donald Trump or Jared Kushner and so on. It then makes people wonder, are you, White House, taking certain policies in Saudi Arabia or China or Russia because it's good for the American people or because it's good for Donald Trump and his family? The American people should never be asking that question. So there are lawsuits now suing for the emoluments clause to get the president to divest from these properties. So we'll see where it goes. So Diane has said that I can only do one more question. So, all right. So I'll conclude on this. Our country is so divided right now. What can we do to work towards unity and compromise?
Build the wall.
So I don't want to be resisting the president. It's not why I ran for Congress. I don't think it's healthy for our country. I would like this administration to calm down. I hope they learn from their mistakes. It's interesting. I had this great briefing from one of our former ambassadors to Afghanistan. He now is in the State Department in charge of Afghanistan policy. And he goes, our motto is don't make the same mistake twice. Because there's just a lot of mistakes you can make in Afghanistan. And so that's my view, that, look, I get that someone who's never been in government before might come into government and sort of be bewildered. But now that Trump's been in for over a year, he ought to now be able to learn. And it's my hope he doesn't repeat the mistakes of the past. His most recent State of the Union was less dark than his inaugural speech. To me, that's somewhat of an advancement.
Oh, you guys are nuts.
And if he can remain like that, great. Last year, he remained presidential for about 3 days before he went off the reservation. So we'll see what happens now. His tweet today, just sort of lying about his viewership, was not a good sign. So my first hope
Lyin,
is
Ted, lying is not a good
he
sign.
can be somewhat presidential and doesn't keep making the same mistakes. But let's say he doesn't do that. Then I do think that we need to have real checks and balances on the executive branch.
We already do.
And this November, the voters across America will get to vote on the makeup of Congress, and the voters can choose if they want a real check or balance or not on their presidency. And then I think there are issues that Democrats and Republicans can work together on that hopefully will foster more unity and compromise. So last year I introduced, along with some other colleagues, a $2 trillion infrastructure plan. The President talked about a $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan. Not that far off, so hopefully we can work together and move America forward. There are issues related to veterans where we'll get bipartisan support. There are issues related to civil liberties where we get bipartisan support. So I think there are areas where we can work together and we can compromise. So it's really up, in my opinion, up to the executive branch as to how far they want to go in terms of working with Democrats, because at a very basic level, they don't have to, because they control all levels of the federal government. So that's where we are. Thank you so much for having me here. And
Boo! Lyin, Ted. Lyin, Ted. I've never heard so much crap in 1 hour, but the world's got to see it. Look at all the barking seals. Look at him run. Look at him run. He doesn't want to talk to the people, though.
Thank you all for
Yeah, Ted Ludicrous. Ted, Lyin, Ted.
Do you guys live here, like in the South Bay?
Yes, I do. He is my congressman, and he's a terrible congressman.
He's a great congressperson.
Why? Why?
He talked on veterans affairs.
Okay.
He's,
Actually, no. He's been voting against that legislation.
absolutely not. You
Yeah.
guys are so misleading.
So look at this guy. Look at this lady. She doesn't even know what she's talking about. Why is it that why didn't he do anything during the Obama administration if he cares so much about veterans? And how come they're still dying in showers? Why didn't anything happen? Look at him run. This is like the biggest dissonance I've ever seen. They're like in their own bubble. It's very disturbing. When they call his State of the Union dismal, black unemployment is at the lowest it has ever been in recorded history, and they don't care. And you were very rude, but that's okay. I forgive you. You don't have manners, but it's okay, ma'am.
By the